What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. My apologies from the last video. It was cut short, ran out of films, but this is volume 2 of me explaining Deontay Wilder's tainted resume due to Twitterer, okay? Now, as I was saying, the problems with Deontay Wilder is the way his team orchestrated his career, okay? Like the $50 million offer. You don't, yourself as a fighter, shouldn't have to email a promoter, ever. Okay, so whoever instructed or advised him to do that, either he should have advised his people that he was going to do that, because obviously they all knew about it, okay? So Shelly Finkel, Lou DiBella, of course, Al Heyman, JD's, which is another co-manager of Deontay Wilder. So they were aware of what this man was doing by sending an email to a promoter saying, hey, we have $50 million, okay? That's what they were doing. And then the money behind it. And then here's the thing. You also have to get everybody on board. You can't have some people and keeping secrets over here and not telling the whole truth over there. Because what Frank Warren said versus what Stephen Espinosa said versus what Lou DiBella said, all these people said different shit. Everything was different. You know, Frank Warren said, yes, it's coming from BT. Lou DiBella said, who cares where it's coming from? Stephen Espinosa said, no, it's not coming from BT. It's coming exclusively from Showtime. But then yet now what we know. If Stephen Espinosa says that it was coming directly from Showtime, but then yet, think about this, guys. Showtime wouldn't even finance Deontay Wilder's last fight. Think that. Let that settle in. His guarantee was $3 million. So how do we really supposed to believe that there was a $50 million deal in play for another fighter in another country without help from anyone else? So that tells us, if the $50 million was real, that means BT Sports had to have a certain amount, Showtime, maybe Fox, right? They had to come together with this $50 million to give to Anthony Joshua, right? And definitely this means that Stephen Espinosa is a liar, because he was caught in a lie anyway. Because Frank Warren didn't bite his tongue. He said, yeah, that's what we did. We were going to offer $30 million to Deontay Wilder and $50 million to Anthony Joshua, okay, for the rights, to buy the rights, for BT to buy the rights for this fight. Now, Showtime, they'll have their pay-per-view over here on this side of the pond, but over there, BT will own that. So Frank Warren had that to say about that $50 million. So Stephen Espinosa lied and said that BT wasn't even involved, because he wanted to save face, because he didn't want to admit that Showtime did not have the budget to give Anthony Joshua $50 million. Now, it was a tactic on getting Joshua to fight here. Why? Because with the pay-per-view between Joshua and Deontay Wilder would have made $50 million to at least cover Anthony Joshua. And then Deontay Wilder would have got whatever was left over. Okay? Now imagine Anthony Joshua saying, okay, I accept your $50 million. Let's say they had a sit down, which they did not have, which was strange. That's what Mr. Oladipo, what's his name? I don't want to murder it. Olafemi was mentioning. Let's say he did have a sit down, okay? Because Olafemi was saying, yeah, they avoided 3 sit downs, which was weird. That's dumb. You have $50 million to offer someone, you can't even sit down to talk about it? It makes no sense. But let's say he did. Let's say he did, in fact, sit down. Joshua sit down with Eddie Hearn, probably Barry over there. He's just chilling, drinking a beer, right, in a mug. And they're all together. You got this table of all these people, right? You got Al Heyman over there, Shelly Finkel. You got Lou DiBella. He's sitting there chilling. You got Deontay Wilder, right? They're sitting there. Okay. Now let's say they offered him $50 million and they showed a contract to him, and then Anthony Joshua says, how much is Deontay Wilder getting? Now imagine he asked that question, and because they didn't want to explain what or how much Deontay Wilder was getting of this deal, Anthony Joshua, Barry, and Eddie Hearn walk out. And they explain, because we didn't know what Deontay Wilder was getting. That's why we didn't accept the $50 million, which Anthony Joshua said, I will take tomorrow if you can come up with $50 million. You see what I'm saying? That's why it makes no sense. And besides, guys, $50 million means dick now. Why? Because Anthony Joshua's earnings, his star power has risen way past that now per fight. He made $85 million, people, for his last fight in Saudi Arabia. Now, how much of that is more than $50 million? 35? You don't have to do the math. I've done it for you. 35 million more for the fight in Saudi Arabia. That's sick. What does $50 million mean now? Not a lot. Not a lot comparing to a person that has made 85 million in his last bout. Okay? So back to Deontay Wilder. These are the things you don't do when you're heavyweight champion. So you won't have guys like Elufemi Adobimpe, and that's definitely an African name. Anthony Joshua's from African descent. You can say, hey, this man's an African protected and going against another guy, or going with a guy because he's also African, right? It could come off biased. It may be. But at the end of the day, you cannot argue with this man. Why? Because all of what he said was true. Counterpunch. That's the problem. So if you're Deontay Wilder, if you're a fan of Deontay Wilder, these are the things that you should inform this particular champion not to do. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Olufemi's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.